Why hello there, lovely people of YouTube. So when we started our channel, we began with very short and shallow videos that were as to the point as we could possibly make them, with a throwing a certain substance at the wall to see what sticks kind of mentality, so we could gauge what people actually wanted to see. Most of these videos are no longer present on our channel for one reason or another, and some of them, like the Danny Mad Queen one, have far more in-depth and, let's be honest, better reasoned versions in production. But that hasn't stopped some of you lovely folks from asking where to find them, and what the hey, it's fun to walk down memory lane sometimes. So Tom has stitched them all together in this video for you guys who want to revisit the period me and Tom affectionately refer to as our dicking around phase. Ah, the good old days, Tom, when we could just wax lyrical about things and not have to worry about the knock-on effects or minor and major errors being pointed out in the comments several hundred times. Good times, my friend, good times. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoy this journey back to the old days. Fade it in, Tom. How could each king have won the War of the Five Kings? Starting with Joffrey, everyone's favorite shithead. Don't kill Ned, spare him and let him take the black. While it doesn't eliminate the tension between North and South, it would have soothed it and given him one less enemy to fight immediately. And wedding Sansa would have really made the North consider their options. Now for Robb, leave Catelyn at home. I love Catelyn. She's an amazing character, but she makes one decision that costs Robb more than any other. She gives away the single most valuable hostage in the war, Jaime Lannister. The Freys aren't pulling any red wedding crap without Tywin's assurance, and they ain't getting that if Robb can end his desired family line in one fell swoop. Next up is Stannis. Just play ball with Robb. You might not like giving up one of your kingdoms, but it's a small price to pay for guaranteed victory. Robb and Stannis caused the Lannisters the most damage. Imagine if they coordinated their attacks. They would have been unstoppable. Then we have Renly. Play ball with Stannis, you fool! His daughter won't live very long, his wife is infertile, making you the logical heir anyway. This also helps Stannis in keeping the largest army and food supply out of the Lannisters' hands via your relationship with Loras. And marriage to Marjorie? That's peachy. And finally we have Balon, who no one cares about or takes seriously. Just swallow your pride and accept Robb's offer. You lost 3 sons to try and win your island's independence, and here someone is offering them to you on a plate. Plus, no one cares about you, and you're going to fall off a bridge soon anyway. How do you think each king could have won or at least survived and kept their heads? We did the kings, so of course we had to do the queens. How could each queen have won the Game of Thrones, or at the very least survived it? Just to be clear, so we don't get that guy correcting us, our picks don't officially have to be a queen, but do have to have ruled with queen-like authority, so war ladies and regents are on the table. Also, we're using pre-Season 6 Thrones logic in our considerations, since Season 6 onwards, where the queens actually have their turn to duke it out, goes off the deep end and becomes farcical. Starting with Marjorie Tyrell / Baratheon, but technically Lannister. Now this one is tricky. Marjorie did absolutely everything right and ended up trapped in an impossible situation thanks to Cersei's foolishness with the Faith. Needing the Faith to take down Cersei, but needing someone as ruthless as Cersei to take down the Faith. But if we had to pick her most costly mistake, it would have been opting to stay in King's Landing and trying to outmaneuver Cersei, instead of retreating to Highgarden with her grandmother. Sure, escape would have been tricky. Sure, she would have ceded power temporarily. But back at Highgarden, they could have consolidated their power, planned their next move, and let's be honest, added another surname to the list. Next up, we have Ellaria Sand. Again, like Marjorie, Ellaria post-Martell coup made all the correct moves. Backing the queen who has 3 dragons is as textbook smart as it gets. But unlike Marjorie, Ellaria dug her own grave. Her costly mistake? Making things personal with Cersei. Complete speculation on our end here, but had Ellaria not poisoned Marcella, it's possible Euron would not have been dispatched to hunt her relentlessly. And even if she was captured, she may have been able to maneuver out of it by turncloaking, Cersei needs all the help she can get after all, or biding her time as a bargaining chip. Then we have Yara. Oh, right, she won. Okay. Next up, Talisa in the show, Jane Westling in the books. Don't marry Robb. Simple as it gets. And now we're on to the big girls in the bout. Up first, the queen we love to hate, Cersei Lannister. In her war, she's the underdog and fighting an uphill battle anyway, but I think her biggest pitfall is her treatment of Tyrion through his entire life. He was an extremely effective hand and proved once before he could turn hopeless battles into somewhat salvageable situations. Who's to say he couldn't find an effective way of dealing with dragons? Not to mention, even with his poor treatment by his father and sister, he still loved and had loyalty to his family. Bad odds become better odds when you have that charming dwarf doing the strategic thinking, unless he's working working for Dany in season 7s and 8s, and where he's effectively useless.
Your strategy has lost us Dawn, the Iron Islands, and the Reach.
Next up, we have everyone's favorite mother of dragons, Daenerys. Going to be an unpopular opinion here, but she needed to fly straight to King's Landing, take the city by force, and take out Cersei. No matter what she did, she was always going to be a foreign invader, and winning over the nobles and people was always going to take multiple years that she just couldn't afford to give, considering the players on the board. Would have been better to grab the realm by the throat and loosen her grip, than hold out her hands so her enemies could chop off her fingers. And finally, the queen everyone underestimated, Sansa Stark. Oh, right, she won the whole thing. Well done, Sansa. How do you think each queen could have won the game, or at the very least survived? Let us know down in those comments, and thanks for watching. Was Tyrion bad at playing the Game of Thrones? In the book we don't know yet, but in the show, most certainly. Now we don't want to squash his achievements. Tyrion was a fantastic hand, and knew how to outplay the likes of Cersei, Pycelle, and even butt heads and hold his own with Littlefinger. But these guys, with the exception of Littlefinger, aren't exactly adept at the game either, coasting by on groveling alliances and privilege. However, whenever Tyrion faced a competent opponent of the game like Tywin, Olenna, and Varys, he was not just a little, but firmly outplayed in every aspect, culminating in his downfall and eventual servitude to Dany, where he proved to be rather ineffectual as hand. Perhaps his first go at it was a fluke. Perhaps his father was right.
Spiteful little creature, full of envy, lust, and low cunning.
Was Dany's Mad Queen arc justified? It sure bloody was. A little bit sharp of a U-turn in such a short space of time at the end, but the turn itself was always coming from the beginning. Let's take a look. When outside Carve, she threatens to burn the city to the ground if not given what she wants. Claims she'll have the throne with fire and blood in a childish outburst.
And we will burn you first.
The prophecy in the House of the Undying literally shows she'll be the Queen of Ashes. Crucifies the Masters in vengeance without fair trial to ascertain innocence or guilt of each individual. Executes random Masters for Barristan's death, again with no proper trial to ascertain guilt or innocence. Sounding familiar. Executes the Tarleys on impulse just to make an example. Her first instinct has several times been to kill them all and burn cities to the ground, and only steered off by wise counsel. Oh, and by the way, she executes people with fire. Not for religious reasons like Stannis, but just because she can. Burning alive is the most painful way to go, by the way. Dany was never a heroine. She was a mirror held up to those who can justify brutality and cruelty as long as it's done to people they dislike, disagree with, or deem evil, all in the name of a good cause. Malevolence disguised as benevolence, and a villain from the start.
I will answer injustice with justice.
What are your thoughts on the Mother of Dragons' turn? Let us know down below. Ask and you shall receive. Thomas TRW requested us to do a how could each house have won the Game of Thrones, and we thought it was a pretty neat idea. If this goes down well, we'll keep doing them. So if you like the idea, let us know by liking and commenting down below. Also, please subscribe. We're not far off 1,000 subs now, and we're so excited to hit that milestone. Now, some houses obviously won the game in the end, and for them we'll address it in a way that perhaps they avoid all those devastating losses along the way to get there. So, we're starting with House Lannister. How could House Lannister have won the game and ended up on the throne they wanted? House Lannister starts in the most advantageous position, as they are on the throne when the game begins in every way that matters. Theirs is more a game of strengthening their hold and dissuading rivals. So, what could they have done? Number 1. Kill Ned more discreetly, or don't kill him at all. This one speaks for itself. It's the inciting incident with the North. Personally, I think Ned had to die. He knows too much to threaten the Lannister claim. But death by assassins, who you could then frame or scapegoat a rival with, or death at the wall would be far less provocative for the North than death by the king. Number 2. Marry Joffrey and Sansa. Again, it speaks for itself, and assuming they followed step 1, this keeps the North on side, and out of every faction, they are the ones who you want on side. Number 3. Rein in Cersei and ease up on Tyrion. Cersei causes problems, Tyrion finds solutions. Give Tyrion more power while taking away some of Cersei's. In fairness, this is what Tywin did, but he yanked his son's power away too abruptly. Tyrion knows what he's doing. Allow him some authority and you may solidify his loyalty. And it goes without saying, but don't try to kill him. Number 4. Replace the old linchpin by preparing the new ones to cooperate. Tywin is what held the Lannisters together. They fell apart once he died. Strategy, military, and ruling were all overseen by him, and he ceded very little control to his children and grandchildren. Now, not so coincidentally, Cersei, Jaime, and Tyrion all have some, but not all of their father's skills. Jaime knows war, Cersei knows what it takes to rule, albeit ruthlessly, and Tyrion is very intelligent and strategic. Tywin should have invested more time into grooming his children for leadership and to cooperate with one another like Ned did. That way, were he to could die, the Lannisters still maintained the qualities that made them effective. Number 5. Put a new puppet on the throne. Lock Cersei away when suggesting this, but Joffrey had to go no matter what. A useless king can be controlled if they're not defiant. A defiant king can be strong and effective if they're not useless. But Joffrey was a useless, defiant king. Put Tommen on that throne, maintaining the pact with the North by marrying him to Sansa.
Your brother was not a wise king. Your brother was not a good king. If he had been, perhaps he'd still be alive.
Number 6. Assassinate Renly and pick the bones clean. This is cleanup. The only threats left on the board that's worth considering is the Tyrells and Dorne. Killing Renly and blaming it on Stannis removes any chance of the Tyrells backing any Baratheons, as there'll be no marriage offer from Stannis, and while they won't get their queen on the throne, they'll be too outnumbered thanks to the backing of the North to rebel. The Tyrells back the winners at the end of the day. This will also come in handy when dealing with Stannis, as you'll have the North, Highgarden, the Riverlands, and the Westerlands to help clean up the Baratheons. Number 7. Pacify Dorne. This one's easy, just let them have the mountain. Preferably dead so they can't torture a confession out of him. Oberyn will still come for Tywin, I have no doubt, but assuming they followed step 4, it won't be as big a blow. And number 8, the final mop-up, and that's Dany. Heed Bobby's words more and take them seriously. I know the Lannisters did what they could to get rid of Dany, but they really needed to focus fire her out of the picture. With no immediate threats around them and peace in the realm, the Lannisters could put more resources into killing the Mother of Dragons before she even became the Mother of Dragons. And that's our take. What did we miss? I'm sure there's some stuff, and what did we get wrong? I'm sure you'll have no problem telling us. Let us know all of that down below, and thanks for watching, guys.